Jody's not also keeping minutes.
No, I'm not. I'm doing something totally different that you'll get in a couple minutes.
Okay, I am going to take minutes then.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm working on something else.
All right, thanks.
Thank
And
you,
I'm here as a
David.
resident, not as a city employee right now. So,
Thank you, David, for taking notes. You always cover us on that, and we really appreciate it. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. And I hope everyone had a chance or has had a chance to review the September 29th minutes. The meeting after that, we did not hold because of various reasons. So that was our last set of minutes. They look good to me, but I'm just, any questions, concerns from any of you? Okay, if not, I'm going to call for a motion to approve. This is one thing we do motion on.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Looks like it's unanimous, David. Okay, I would like to just, I have spoken to John Chamberlain. He's received an assignment that he's accepted in the church, and it's going to interfere with his time here, and he has asked to be released from this service, and I graciously accepted that from him and expressed nothing but appreciation for his work, and I made sure he knew that from all of us, and so he has stepped down. So I would like to just talk a little bit about his replacement. I want us to think about something. I'd really like, if we can, to get a CPA on this committee. I don't know where we're going to find that individual, but if any of us know of anyone that has that depth of experience, I think that would, I don't think any of us are CPAs here, and I think that would really be an asset to the community. So I'm asking us to go on the hunt for that somehow, some way.
are you
Any
looking for a
suggestions from any
volunteer?
of you?
Are you
What,
looking
Janet?
for a volunteer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a non-paid position. This is all volunteer here, so.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to get a female too, to get some of that back on. It was nice to have Zach's wife, Becky on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, Zach's dad passed away about an hour ago.
Oh,
Oh, we
is he in
did.
a hospital?
Was that
or
expected?
I don't know that it was inspected, but I mean, it was as of like yesterday. But
Oh,
before that, it kind of, something happened in the last couple of days that a major turn for the worse. And so the family, I think, was starting to gather today and stuff. And he just passed away, I think about an hour ago, actually,
wow.
7 o'clock or something.
That's hard stuff there.
Longtime resident of Woodland Hills. And anyhow.
Wow, okay. Then, so if any suggestion from anyone on how we go about this search? Is it something we can post on our website?
We certainly can, and we can put it in the newsletter. And then the honest way that we got most of you was just word of mouth. So people who are
Right.
willing to serve.
Yeah, I'm well aware of that. And so is Newt, and so is John. But I think it's really important to go to that level if we can find that. With that said, then I think I'll get with Jody and write something up. Who does the newsletter anyway? I'm not even sure.
Barry Malkovich.
Okay. I will get with Carrie on that and ask her to get that posted. That we're in search for a CPA. It's a volunteer and we'll get it worded right, so. All right.
Okay.
We'll go that direction. Next on the agenda is Chris, could you, I just got the numbers, I think yesterday or the day before, I can't remember, but could you pull up January's and just give us a brief overview of what our budget's looking like right now?
2
It's
seconds
been a
here.
while since we've met. And I know you indicated things look good. But a quick overview of that would be beneficial. You have, okay, there you go.
Okay. So just a couple highlights. Just the very first line, which is a good highlight, is we collected more property taxes than we had anticipated, and we're not done collecting. So revenues are definitely going up, especially as the county keeps doing their assessments on all of the homes. Now, with that said, we still have, Jody, you're going to have to help me, 15 homes that'll still close this year that will be including, or will be increasing that dollar amount for the next November collection. So as far as revenues come in the city, but once again, with revenues we have, or with more homes, we have more expenses. Business permits, I mean, some of these little ones I'm not going to go over because yeah, we've doubled our business license collection, but we're talking $600, so it's not something right home about. The zoning subdivision fees. So as the mayor and I are working on right now, revising this year's budget, these are some of the things that we're looking at. We've had more applications through Robert Nelson and Four Seasons, I believe it is, that have come through with some more zoning fees than we'd anticipated. Those are pretty much in and out, and there's no real revenue profit for us on that.
When you
And so-
say in and out, Chris, what does that mean?
So those will go to the engineering firms and the inspection firms that will inspect those subdivisions and approve them beforehand.
Get it?
Hopefully, one of the big things is hopefully we won't have to dip in $277,000 into our savings as we continue to get the year and the collections money coming in by the time June comes out. So that'll be a positive thing. Hopefully we can get that significantly down and carry over more money. I will pause right here. We did receive a naughty letter. We were naughty as a city from the state auditors. We carried over too much money last year. We didn't spend enough. So we get a slap on the hand because this has happened multiple times. It can be a good thing because we're very frugal with our money, but then it can be a bad thing on the other side that we might be collecting too much in taxes. That's not what happened here. The feds threw over some additional revenues our way. And so we weren't able to spend it just quite as fast. We will just be moving it to capital project funds from now on and just letting it sit there. That's where we're able to accumulate the funds. So we have responded to the state auditor and told him such. But otherwise, the expenses for the most part are lining up the way that we thought they would, but we are going to make some changes because with the water line replacement and being able to get some of the road monies to cover, or excuse me, some of the water monies to cover the roads, we're able to shift some things around within the road budget. David, I did have a question that came up in a meeting I had with Ted Mickelson, and he's getting ready to refresh the quote on doing West Loafer and getting back with Summit Creek to see if they're ready to go ahead and do that. I told him yes, because the council hasn't said anything otherwise, and it's already been approved. Anything different?
No,
Okay,
no.
great. Let's jump down to the water and skip all these capital projects because those are really
Hey,
just savings.
Chris, could you just talk about professional services before we go down to water?
So professional services right here, the 25,000, or Are you talking like the lawyers?
Yep, lawyers and engineers.
Okay, so we take the engineering out of 3 pots. So let's take the lawyers because that'll be easier. We're up to about 60,000 between lawyers and a gentleman called David Alder, who's been doing $20,000 plus work for us on the Fuja lawsuit. And so, yeah, hopefully we're not gonna hit that 132,000, but with 58% of the year gone, we're already at 44% of this budget line item spent, and it could go up quickly. Or it could slow down, but actually, I'm gonna back
So
up. It's not
can-
gonna slow down.
Can the council give us an idea on how that lawsuit is going and what we can expect future-wise? Is it going to go through the year that we're going to be spending money on this? And maybe you don't know that, I don't know, but
So
Perfect.
the piece that has been made public, and I think we can talk about, is the mayor has made several overtures to try to, I'm not going to say settle because that's the wrong word, but to resolve the lawsuit. And several of the lawsuits are really questioning the city processes more than anything. And those have gone before the judge. There were 2 different hearings, I think in January, both to different judges, but essentially the exact same question on how the city does their processes and whether that's correct. So in both of those cases, the hearing was actually a hearing for dismissal of the lawsuits. And the judge still has them under advisement. So that's pretty much where it sits.
so it could come to a close then, is what I'm hearing here, Dave, is that?
Those
Soon-
2 could
sooner
come
than
to a
later.
close real quick. But they could also, if one of the judges finds that the city didn't follow the right processes, they could also, I guess either way, they would end up resolving the questions that we have. And I think that's a good thing. And then the city would have to make decisions one way or another after that. There has been a new lawsuit filed as of this week, I think.
Dave,
And
can we pause real quick? Those 2
Yeah.
lawsuits Dave talked about earlier had no monetary, they weren't suing for a dollar amount. They were just, like Dave said, pure process. So there was no dollar amount. We're suing for $500 or whatever.
So it would just be legal fees then. Would be the
I don't
cost of
believe-
those.
We're talking
Yeah.
legal fees.
If they win, yes. City can't get, I don't believe the city can get legal fees off of those, but I'm
But
not.
we'll continue to accrue legal fees while we're still in the process, I guess is my.
yes.
Yeah, and those 2 are being covered by the insurance company right now. So yes, those are not coming off of this $132,000 except for the engineer. Otherwise, everything else has been covered by the insurance company on that portion of their complaints. Sorry, David.
No, you're fine. So the lawsuit that was filed this week, honestly, I don't know a whole lot about it. I just got the paperwork last night. I think that one, they are suing for some kind of monetary damages. Interestingly enough, it corresponded very closely to what our insurance coverage is, which I laugh, but that's actually kind of sick and demented, but whatever. I guess that's the way lawyers work. So that we don't know a whole lot about, and I have no idea even where that's going to be tried or anything. So
Is that from the same party that is in litigation now? Okay.
yep, they figured out how to do it, so they're going to keep pressing that button until they get some kind of satisfaction.
Okay.
So now I want to just be clear and fair to those parties. Not all of our legal fees are associated with that. So for instance, we we are right now working through an agreement with Summit Creek, a development agreement. And honestly, that has taken quite a bit of Craig and Ethan's time over the last couple of months. And just the city had gotten to a point where we really had outgrown, I'll say it that way, our free legal advice that we'd been getting from the Utah League of Cities and Towns. And primarily just because we've got way more development going on than we've ever had. I mean, by a rocket mile. It's just crazy how much development and development itself, homes, isn't that hard. But when you come to some subdivisions and all the legalities around that, multiple subdivision developers having to, work out agreements between them. Anyway, we needed more legal help. And so that's what Craig and Ethan have been able to do. One more thing on the legal front, just because we just passed this ordinance last night. So in the past, and some of you may have actually, I think Newt, you might have served on this board, but we had a board of adjustments or a variance committee, or it's been named various things over the years, that handled our zoning questions that would come up before the city. And it was an all volunteer committee. And they would just meet periodically whenever there was someone who needed something like that. And that committee was one of the committees that was called into question over their processes. And so the mayor actually suggested this because some other cities have kind of gone a different route. Instead of using a citizen committee, they're using a lawyer who can essentially act as a judge in these cases. And we would hire that person for a particular hearing, and then they would perform that service, render a decision, and then they would be done. The advantage being, by doing it that way, we don't have, we're not having neighbor against neighbor. And it's a little more of a professional environment. A lawyer is a bit less biased, perhaps, although I don't think our variance committee was biased in any way, but still, you have less chance of any bias entering in, and it's a little more of a legal proceeding. And so anyway, that is something that we passed last night. So we're going to be disbanding immediately the variance committee and instead replacing it with a lawyer.
Potentially. We just found out today, if there's a referendum by any citizens, then we have to keep the status quo until that gets worked out, unless everybody resigns from the appeals committee. Is that correct, Jody? Is that what we learned today?
Yeah, it is.
Sorry, citizen Jody.
Yeah, just a
Okay.
minute.
Yeah, so
Okay, I think my intent on asking the question was just to find out how much we can expect going forward here, and in the future we can expect on this legal front on this particular issue.
if you look at the screen here, this is a shot of the monies we've paid since we really started getting into this with our own attorneys. We're at $12,000 or $62,000 through January 26th. You can see if they're dealing with the FUJAs or if they're dealing with something else. And as David talked about, so far we spent about $1,925 on the Summit Creek problems, and then the rest has been dealing with the FUJAs.
We're about a year and a half or over a year and a half into this, right?
Yeah, and this is just since September, these costs. So between Jody's time, Paul MacArthur alluded to in a council meeting last year that it was going to be about $80,000, and everybody was up, not everybody, certain people are up in arms. And in all reality, we're going to surpass that $80,000 out of the city coffers easily between Jody and Corbett, just their time alone.
Well, this last legal fee of $12,274, that's pretty heavy there.
Yep. We were at one point, we were about $12,000 or $10,000 a month when we first got into this last budget cycle. It was $9,000 to $12,000 a month. So it looks like we're getting back up there again. So when the insurance company's not covering it, then our expenses tend to go up, especially with initial complaints, because we don't go right to the insurance company. We do, but we don't. So Smith might work on some things for us at first.
So Chris, do we have a sort of liability policy that covers us in a situation like this?
Up to certain points, yes. Right now, they've authorized $50,000, and we're approaching that $50,000 in legal fees right now with them.
So is that $50,000 going to come and take away from this 62,000?
No, that's for the complaints that have been filed with the 4th District Court.
Okay.
And those are covered by the insurance. The pieces of this that aren't covered by the insurance are like, every time they write a letter to the city demanding an answer, our lawyer has to respond. Our lawyer has been working through various attempts at resolution with them. We have to pay him for that. So, I mean, there's a lot of work we've attempted to try and resolve this, and thus far it has been unsuccessful, but we're still trying. We're still hopeful.
Let's just go over the last payroll real quick. Let's see. This doesn't give the detail. I think it might have been the report I sent last night. It actually showed, oh, there's future lawsuit. This is all Corbett's hours that he's working. So just this last payroll, Corbett has about what, $2,900 just alone for him. And then Jody, I think you've probably got a little bit more than that. Do you have more than 6 hours last time, or was it quieter period for you? But that's just one payroll, almost $3,000.
Wow,
Wow.
this is really costing the city.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, we really have, I guess, 3 options as a city, because we're not suing anybody. We're being sued. So we kind of have to defend ourselves. We can't just roll over and say, okay. But I mean, obviously we could settle. We could, I don't know if the settlement number is public, Chris. You'd probably know better than I.
I was going to ask, is that document we received, have they filed that in 4th District Court, or is that just the threat?
I can't remember. I don't know if it's actually been filed or not. But anyway, there has been a settlement number proposed, and I'll just say it this way:
it's a grammable document. It's a grammable document.
It is a
It's-
grammable document.
It's 1 point.
It's more than our city yearly budget.
It's about 1.6 or 1.8, if I remember right.
1.38756 or something like that.
8675309.
Yeah, there you go.
So, I mean, we could settle and have that be done, but again, that's more than our yearly city budget. None of us feel like settling would be morally right, because we don't feel like the city has done anything wrong. But again, that's an open question. And then
Carrie
we
did
could
the
also
math.
win.
Carrie did the math and she said it would cost like $3,600 and some change for every resident.
For every household, or
Yeah. $3,600 and some change for every household if we settled.
Well, I'm not going to say what I think right here, but but as a finance committee member and chairman, I'm concerned about the finances, but the city should, in my opinion, from a finance standpoint, should protect their position in favor of the citizens of this community. And if council feels strongly that that is to benefit the city, and they feel comfortable that they can win on this account, then I would say I'm with you. I think it'd be morally wrong to settle and spend that money. That would be a big hit to our city budget that we're not prepared for.
No. So anyway, that's kind of where that whole thing sits. And it is definitely top of mind to, I think, every person. I know every council person, it's top of mind. We've all been named in the lawsuits, me personally. And so, yeah, we've been sent threatening letters. We got a very large packet that was nothing but full of threats.
Certified.
And
to our
so-
homes. Yeah.
Yeah.
To you as council, personal council members?
And to
Yes.
city employees.
Wow.
So anyway,
Like,
we are not ignoring anything at this point. We never have. We never have ignored this situation, but we are definitely not ignoring it now.
how are our employees? I guess we've got Jody on the call here, but how are they kind of weathering all the extra work they're doing exclusively for this? How's Corbett feeling about that? Is he grumbling? Is it making his life miserable? Is he looking for other work?
He's upset because he can't get to his regular chores because he's always bowing down and having to do stuff for the lawsuits because there's deadlines and timelines, which frustrates a person like Corbett because he so wants to get projects accomplished or get new projects started. I will tell you, it took a toll on several of the employees because this packet was delivered to their home. And when it was read in their home that they are personally going to be sued or be liable or be thrown in jail, it caused some consternation with their spouses.
A couple of the wives actually got the package and opened it and read it, and we're pretty upset.
I would imagine.
Because the husbands have been sheltering, which it's a city matter, right? And the city's covering it, but now you're getting something personal at your house. You're being sued, you're going to be put in jail, which is here nor there as far as an opinion, but it's unnerving.
I'm interested to know if Janet was served. I mean, did you
I
receive it?
was. And I'm brand new, so yeah, I was.
Welcome.
Wow, that's interesting.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Interesting where you have no skin in the game before that. That's amazing.
We love serving our city.
Yeah, bless your hearts.
Hey, you guys get $200 a month. Quit your complaining.
After taxes, I think I got like 163.
182.60.
Chris.
I've never added that up or anything. So
I put it in savings. It's awesome.
no.
Well, we appreciate that. Well, if there's anything we can do from a finance committee on this particular thing, since it is pretty involved, I think Newt and I would rise to the occasion and help wherever we could.
I think the real benefit we've received recently has been Mayor Winder. And I don't want to, embarrass him or anything, but he just knows the legal world, and he has people that he can go to and talk to. And that's been super helpful. And
Sure.
so he's been able to bring a fresh perspective, but a legal perspective to it. And I think that's been super helpful. So, I commend him for his work. He's done a great job. I don't know that it will bear any different fruit, but hey, he's trying. And that's really what you want at this stage of the ball game. So
Okay. Talking about budgets, we need, this is probably on you and I's shoulders here is to go out to the various heads of departments here and gather their new fiscal budget for the coming fiscal year. I worked with Craig last year, Craig Northup. If you would work with Corbett.
I had Jody last year, so
And
administrative.
So could you work with Jody and Corbett? And I'll work with the mayor. And who was I just thinking
EMS.
about?
Right.
Fire and EMS.
And
Fire.
Craig
Craig.
Northup. I'll
So,
work with those two. You work with those two. Is there any others we need to be concerned about, Chris?
so it'd be water and roads with Corbett, fire, EMS, parks with the chief. And then mayor, I think what we could do is combine all this together and then present it to the mayor, or you can present it to the mayor after that, however you want to do that. But I'm not, unless you want to go with the mayor and get his thoughts.
Well, last year I was told to go to Wendy to get administrative
Great, great.
budget.
Okay.
And that's what I was gonna go to Mayor Winder on, is just to get that. If you counsel me otherwise, I'll go any direction I'm counseled here.
No, I think that's good. And then he can give you some thoughts if he's got some different ideas or whatever.
Yeah, I think it'd be good for Brent and I to spend a little time together. And so this will give me an excuse to do that. So
So
So is that-
Newt's got
if you-
Jody and Corbett. Who has Craig?
Mike,
I do,
Mike.
Oh,
I do.
and Brent Winder, right?
and Brent Winder.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I had that in the notes correctly.
Right. Okay, we'll proceed accordingly. And how soon do we need these budgets in?
I think we were further ahead last year. I think we had started maybe a month or two prior last year in working on these.
I think the next thing on the agenda was to talk about the retreat that the city council has called a budget retreat. Is that something you would want the finance committee part of or not?
we actually would like the budgets back and a budget tentatively presented at that meeting,
That's March 1st, isn't it?
14th.
14th.
Oh, March 14th. I thought it was the 1st.
Yeah.
In fact, I think. Yeah, I had March 1st, but it's the 14th. So that's a misprint. And I must have
I
heard
think
that
it-
wrong for some reason.
I think it originally was March 1st, but then there was some conflicts, and then they were going to do it during April during the conference that there's going to be in St. George, but that didn't work out either. So the next best date was March 14th. The mayor would like to have a budget presented to them. That's the reason for the conference, the March 14th day.
Well, no, we got a work cut out for us over the next couple of weeks. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we do. Do the different parties, obviously Jody, Corbett, the mayor and Craig know that this is coming, and when we come and ask them for, or we actually probably present them our help or offer of help, they're expecting that, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we had a
Expecting the
meeting.
need to have that presented by the 14th.
Yeah, we had a staff meeting this morning and it was discussed that this was going to be forthcoming.
okay,
So when we
Alright.
go and offer our help, they'll know what we're talking about and be ready to go probably.
Yeah, and you can probably get a lot of this done by email, at least the first part, so it can move quickly.
okay, we will move quickly. By tomorrow, I will plan on emailing my folks, Newt, and if you could get yours out as soon as possible, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Will do.
All right. Are there any updates to phase 2 and 3 of our water line replacement projects that anyone knows? I have not heard.
I haven't either. And honestly, we really haven't talked a lot about that. We're going to have a Public Works Committee meeting next week. And I say that with a question mark because they didn't really have anything that they were going to discuss. And so they were going to cancel that. I think the work that we had contracted for last year has been completed. So all of our existing work is done. But as you mentioned, we had a couple other phases that we wanted to get done. But I don't think we have anything, I don't think we have the money to do it. I think we've kind of maxed out our money. And that kind of leads to agenda item number 7. Because as we had talked about last year, Carrie was working on putting together she had submitted a proposal for grants to the city as part of the infrastructure bill from the federal government, that we might be able to get some water money. I know that she has been up on Capitol Hill. She's been begging for that money, but we won't know until the very end whether we get any of it or not.
Okay, so we're on hold there and it's just waiting. And if we need to get Ted Mickelson involved or something in a future meeting, we will. I think as we move into spring and the snow's gone, we'll probably get a little more active in talking about that. We'll go on.
I
to our
will
next-
say this, well, there were 2 funding mechanisms that we were looking at for more water work. One was this infrastructure bill that was passed. The other one was another loan from the Rural Water Association or whatever. And I haven't heard anything on that one either. So I'll see what I can find out from our people, from Corbett and from Ted, what our status is on being able to complete some more water lines.
That would probably be
I
the
think
best.
phase 2 is the one that we were most concerned about. Phase 3 is up here on Eagle Nest and that, and I don't think personally we need to be worrying about it, but
Yeah, I think it was a 2.1 and 2.2, which were, my notes say 2.5 million each, and that would complete the conversion from this to the new pipe that now meets the standards. So as of September, that was a $5 million project.
yeah, this is
Yes.
a pretty hefty number.
Yeah, and Mike and I, we talked about that kind of concerns, that it was more than per foot than, the previous one. But anyhow, it's I guess it's still needed. I haven't heard if Corbett's had issues with pipe breaking like the stuff that we did start with phase 1, but
I haven't heard of anything. I don't know if he's mentioned anything in staff meeting, but honestly, when it comes to water, Corbett's a lot less stressed. But we still have some 6-inch line in the city, and that's what we need to get rid of.
right. That's those 2 phases, or 2 parts of phase 2.
Yep.
Okay, can anyone give us a status of our security cameras? Were they installed and are they up and running?
So we have, we put the order in to get the fiber at the 3 locations. So at the mailbox, 4 locations, the mailbox, the salt shed, the tanks, and the park. And Craig said he went up there to look at the water tanks, lifted up the fiber box, and there was no fiber pulled, and we had been told it was done. So it either got pulled a different way or, a different location, or we just got erroneous information. So Craig was working on that. I did speak with Ryan. He does have the cameras. He's ready to go. Corbett and Craig can get him to the water tanks with all the snow. But we got to have that fiber. So I don't,
We're
and
just waiting on fiber, and as soon as we get that in, we can proceed. And
yeah, and fiber is not at the salt
contract been
shed.
awarded, Chris?
Yeah, it's been awarded to Classroom Smarts.
Okay, very good. All right. We talked about filling John's vacancy, so that's taken care of. Are there any other items of possible discussion?
I had a couple of questions just on the budget, on a couple of line items. They were the ones that were over, of course, on percentages. On fuel and supplies, it looks like we were over budget. Did we have that much snow plowing, or where did that money go? It's 6445, fuel and supplies. I'm just curious.
Are you on the water or are you on?
Operating expense. On the
Which
operating
fund?
budget.
I think she's not-
6445, it
she's in
says.
water. 6445. So on page 10 for you
10.
guys.
Like right in the middle. That's where there's 2 or 3 that are like, we're over. And so so the ones that were like, there's fuel and supplies. I know what the water maintenance was. And then the miscellaneous operating expense. I was just curious, since we're going to have the budget retreat and kind of are looking at expenses and looking at the budget, I just wanted to ask what was built into those numbers.
Okay, so real quick, going through those line by lines, that gives you guys just a quick, okay, what are those numbers? We can look those up here in just a second. A really good one to look at too is the total operating expense, and it shows that it's 48.39% of the year.
Yes.
That's really good number, regardless of what's happening up above. And I'm not minimizing your question, I'll get you your answer. But within the water or within the, let me share my screen again. Okay, so this is the water fund. Let me go back to the general fund real quick. And this should just be a quick little reminder and lesson for everybody. We'll just pick on fire. So fire, we know once again, this is 58% of the year is passed, and fire overall is a little overspent. Now he front loaded some stuff in the fall, and we front loaded the bonuses. So the bonuses for fire wages, this percent's actually going down each month because the bonuses were given in December. But within this total public safety arena, so police, fire, EMS, inspections, and animal control, we're at 57%. The mayor has his prerogative, if he wants to, within this category, he can move this money around and budgets without any council approval. That's how kind of flexible this is. So when we get into the water and we're overspent in fuels and supplies, let's now look and see what that is. But overall, that budget's doing really, really good. So let me pull up the detail on that 6445.
Yeah, I did see the total percentage. I thought it looked good. I just
Okay.
was curious, you know.
6445, is that where you're at, Janet?
Yeah. 6445. I was just curious. Also, the miscellaneous operating 6610. I was just wondering what went into those, so I can understand where some of the funds are going. I had
Okay.
10 years in banking, so
$7,699 are going for supplies for the cameras. And those were budgeted the previous year, but this is kind of a carry over. And so we put 50% down on the cameras to get the cameras ordered. So that's why that one's getting thrown over. Let's see here.
and then 6610.
6610, looking at construction. 6610.
Miscellaneous operating expense, Chris.
So we had, we paid for the bonding fees for the last DW loan. So we have to pay for attorneys and bonding, Zions Bank, and some Zions Bank trustee fees. So we paid Gilmore Bell and Zions Bank. Plus, this is housing 2 checks that bounced right now until we get paid back. One was for Raycon Construction, who was using that to install some water, which that has been shut down until they got that paid back up. So it's kind of just a catch-all at the moment.
Okay. Makes sense.
Thank you. Thank you for
Was there
those
any-
questions, Janet.
I think that was all. Everything else I looked at looked pretty good. Everything looked in line. Some of the expenses, I know what they're for. I know why we overspent, or, you know, kind of where we're at. So
Did we get the fire truck ordered?
Fire truck's ordered, it'll be put in production. Hopefully by July. It won't be able to be picked up till July 2023. But they were,
Where do they pick it up at, Chris?
I think it's going to be in Appleton, Wisconsin.
So coming down from the North Country.
Yeah, that'll be good in July to get it instead of
Yeah.
December.
Yeah, that'll be a good time for there.
Interest rates
Well-
are taking a crazy jump right now, but we'll see what it does in July 2023.
They're about 4% right now.
What did you just
Plus
say,
was
Janet?
9.5.
4%? What is,
The current interest rate's about 4%.
For mortgages.
Yeah, for a conventional.
Yeah. So the bonding, the Zions Bank called, see if we want to lock in our bonding right now for about, well, the rates were going up every day. They couldn't really give us a lock, but they were about 3% and we would have saved $1,000. And I just said, no, we got a year and a half. Let's just, we don't want to lock in now and start getting payments and all that kind of stuff. And we don't even have the apparatus. So he was just giving us the option. West Valley City did it. They got it at 2.8 and
Car loans are a little bit lower.
yeah, we get
Commercial
public financing.
Commercial
bonding.
loans.
So it's
okay,
loans
crazy
are up.
times.
I don't believe we have any public on it unless I'll ask the question, any public comment? Okay, being none, is everyone okay with our next meeting being held on April 20th, 8 p.m.?
I'm traveling.
We have conferences in St. George, the whole city council and Jody and myself.
Okay, so that date's not gonna work then.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just coming back from Texas and I'm heading to St. George. I'm not sure which is better. I know the ice cream's better in Texas, so
Mike, I'm
Move on.
available the week before or after.
Okay, so either the 13th or the 27th, any preferences?
I would prefer the 13th.
Okay,
The 27th is my
okay.
daughter's birthday, so I probably ought to be a good dad.
yes, you should. So we'll plan on then the 13th. Can you change that, David? And
Yep.
would you also change the date of the retreat that I had on there? Give a correction on that of March 1st to the 14th. Did I hear that correctly?
Unofficially it is. I didn't hear the mayor say yay or nay for sure on that, but that's when all the council members, oh, David, you were the last one needed to say yes.
I know. And I was
March
like, it's a Monday
14th,
night.
That's a Monday. That's a Monday. You gonna do it on a Monday?
Yeah, that's the only time we can get all council together. They're just traveling. All of them are traveling.
So we're just
My
having.
only
family home meeting
complaint,
that night.
my only complaint is that's when we get to talk to Wesley,
Yeah,
which anyway,
we can have.
I can have one ear on the budget retreat and one ear on Wesley's conversation.
Yeah, that's important to hear Wesley.
He's
Okay,
doing good.
What city is he in?
Oh, you would ask me that. Springfield,
Oh, cool.
Ohio. And he's among Haitian Creole expats,
Very cool.
and he's learning French.
Is he learning that other, what's that other Creole? Creole, isn't there a language like that?
Yeah, Creole and French, but most of them speak kind of a mishmash of both.
That's what my boys speak.
To say, Janet, do you speak it?
Mm,
Do you understand it?
I have some basic phrases because when they came here, they didn't speak any English. So I had a sheet that was like, are you tired, hungry, thirsty, sad? And then it gave you the word in Creole. So it was very basic, but we survived. So
You can't tell at the dinner table if they're saying something about you guys, then
the best thing is there's still a lot of English they don't know. So if they smile at you and nod, that means they have no clue what you're saying. So if you ever get that response, that's why.
no, that's cute.
that's awesome.
All right, you guys, so budget retreat on the 14th of March. Our next Finance Committee meeting then will be slated for February the 13th, which is a Wednesday night.
April the 13th, right?
Excuse me, April the 13th.
Oh, wait a second, Jody, do we have planning commission that night?
I'm not seeing that. No, it would be on the third Wednesday of the month.
So the 20th, we would have actually, wouldn't have been able to do it anyways, unless we set it even later.
Correct.
Well, the 13th works for me. If it works for you, everyone else, we're good to go. All right, you guys, we'll call this meeting to a close. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you
you.
all. We'll get our duties done here.
Thanks. for
Okay,
letting
thank
me
you, Mike.
listen and
Thanks.
ask some
Good
questions.
night.
Mhm.
You what, Janet? Did you have a question?
No, I just said thanks for letting me listen and